Hell yeah. That's cool. I'm glad that you were able to share that. This is definitely I like this. I like this. Let's change the whole format. Let's just do this. Let's do
I'm
scripted
gonna just tell you stories.
super deep dives of you telling me stories. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to an extra special episode of the Time Well Meant podcast. This is the podcast all about the goings-ons of the internet, gaming, and most importantly, mental health. Today we have an extra special episode. We're going to deviate from the form just a little bit. But here with me, as always, is the wonderful and beautiful, with the most sexy voice on earth, Silas. How you doing today, dude?
Hi.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
You said sexy voice. I had to really amp it up. I had to amplify that sexy voice. I'm doing good, man. I'm a little tired. Been working a lot, but no, I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to being in the time when this episode actually comes out, which will be at QuakeCon.
I
got my QuakeCon shirt on and everything.
He does.
Yeah.
We are recording this a little bit
ready.
early off of our normal schedule because we're both going to be on vacation when this premieres, actually. We will be balls deep in the BYOC. Balls with a W.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait. I've been talking to a bunch of our friends. Everyone's really excited, coordinating everything, just getting ready. The anticipation is definitely building, and I'm really stoked. I can't wait for it.
I'm counting down the work days. I got like 4 to go, and then I'm off for 5 days. Gonna have all the homies in from all over the country. We have a not international, but a national crew that comes down just to hang out and play games. And get drunk together.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be so. I cannot wait. I legitimately. I can't wait.
I know. But we do have something we need to do here today.
We do. I understand. So the funny thing is that. I want to preface this by saying I know nothing about what you're about to talk about. The only thing is I keep hearing the name Randy, and I think Randy Blythe, is that the name?
Okay. Randy Blythe, that is correct.
Literally the only thing I know, and that he's from Lamb of God. Those are the two pieces of information that I know about this entire situation. You're already repping the merch. I know nothing else about this situation. I know nothing else. You sent me like a little document. I skimmed it. I was like, I don't want to spoil myself. So I'm really, really excited to hear what's going to go on. But yeah, this is a bit of a niche deep dive, just as we talk about some pretty dark stuff, some pretty deep stuff, involving just kind of a little bit of everything. And I think it's nice to have that kind of refresher and that relaxer to kind of like be like, okay, let's talk about just something kind of out of the ordinary, something a bit off topic. So that way, when we come back in for the next episode, we're a little bit better in. But take it away, man. I want to hear everything. Tell me the tale. Tell me the tale.
Do you know any of Lamb of God? Ever heard of?
I'm sure I know at least 1 or 2 songs. I'm not a huge fan. I never was, but I know that my friends, like I'm pretty sure Jess is a pretty big fan of Lamb of God. Yeah,
Jess love.
Yeah, and so our friend Jesse, I know that you two love Lamb of God. I was never a huge fan, but I appreciate the music.
It's okay. Have you ever been in a mosh pit?
No, I've seen a mosh pit. I've been to shows where mosh pits are present. I've always worn glasses, so I'm like, the moment instantly I'm always like, I'm gonna get hit in the glasses, and I don't want to.
You're gonna be Velma on the floor in the mosh pit.
My glasses. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Have you seen like crowd surfing? You seen a wild concert?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good. Good. All right. So today I'm gonna tell you the story of Randy Blythe. Not like his whole life story, a specific event that I find very interesting. So just a little bit of backstory for those who might not be familiar with Lamb of God. They are a metal band, very popular, very influential band. They've been around for 20 plus years now. They have 11 studio albums, multiple DVDs, documentaries, world tours, merch, you name it, they've done it. I love them so much. Sorry if I gush a little bit during this episode, but I really, truly love Lamb of God. So, just a little explanation there. They did form in 1994. Their original band name was Burn the Priest. They put out 1 record under this name, and were basically told by a record label, that's not going to fly. So they changed their name to Lamb of God. They said very specifically, we're changing it to Lamb of God because we are not satanic. So Burn the Priest, Lamb of God.
Right, it's a little better.
It's good. So, man, I've seen them multiple times in my life. They are quite literally one of my top 3 favorite bands.
Aren't you going to see them, or I think you were going to go try and see them again this year, right?
I don't know of any tours at this moment,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did actually go see them on my birthday last
Right.
year.
That's what I don't know
That's
why I
right.
thought that you were doing it again this year for some reason. Oh, yeah.
And they played one of my other favorite bands is called Fit for an Autopsy. And Fit for an Autopsy opened for Lamb of God. And then the singer of Fit for an Autopsy, Joe Bad, he came out and like sang some of the songs with Lamb of God.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
Best birthday ever.
It was so good, dude. All right. Now we're going to get into it. So the story is that at one point in time in 2010, Lamb of God is doing a world tour, touring the world. They were touring on their new album, which was Wrath at the time. It's their 5th studio album. Actually, I did want to take it back just a touch there because the whole story truly starts on April 26th of 2009 at the Palladium Ballroom in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Okay? Me and my little brother and several of our friends were at that show, and it was great. It was fucking awesome. One of the best shows I've ever been to in my life, out of many, many, many. I specifically remember it because we were all under 21, and at some point we were out on the smoking patio, and we watched this old redneck guy in overalls stand up and walk away and just left a little bottle of whiskey behind. We yoinked that shit so quick. Started having a drink. All of us under 21. Concert was awesome.
We don't recommend, if you're under 21, don't drink, but at the time it was awesome.
Don't. This was a different era,
Different
you know. Things are different now.
Kids are crazy, we know.
So they're touring for the Wrath album. They come through Dallas. Great show. That's where it all begins.
Hell yeah.
They continue the world tour. They're flying around. They go to land in the Czech Republic in Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. This was on May 24th of 2010. They show up. They're going to play a concert. There is a little bit of, as soon as they arrive, there's security concerns. Lamb of God being a big, international world traveling band with all these albums and experience under their belt, they have it's much worse now because of the story I'm about to tell you, but back then it was pretty strict. They had a certain number of security guards they requested. There has to be a barrier between the stage and the audience that is 1.5 meters away from the stage. This little venue in Prague did not have the barrier far enough away, did not have the number of guards, and this was notated by the band and their stage techs. But the show must go on. They end up playing the show. If you're interested, there's tons of video from that night because of this incident that I'm about to describe. During the concert, it was notated there was, with the barrier being too close, there was a lot of crowd surfing. Security guards constantly catching people, trying to keep everybody safe. There was a specific one fan who will come up later in the story, who climbed onto the stage 3 times. The first time, just climbs up, hops off, having a good time. Second time, spends a little bit longer on the stage, tries to give Randy a hug while he's singing or something like that, and Randy just pushes him away. Dude hops off the stage. The show goes on, and this guy comes on the stage once again, attempts to hug Randy. Randy pushes him away, and he falls over. This is on video. While Randy is screaming Lamb of God music, he kneels down on this dude and tells him, fucking stop. Fucking stop. Man gets up, leaves the stage again. Other than that, though, not a whole lot of notable events. Pretty standard concert fare as far as the Lamb of God band knows. Now, what actually happened that night, at some point during the night, a fan, 19 years old, by the name of Daniel Nosek, he had climbed onto the stage and it's going to come up as allegedly, maybe how did this happen exactly later on in the story. He left the stage, landed on his head. He did have some brain injury immediately. His friends are worried he's having a concussion, he's vomiting, etc., goes to a doctor, hospital. He ends up passing away multiple days later from this injury. There was a specific term for what caused it that I don't exactly know how to pronounce, but the doctors did say it's something like a 40% chance of survival if this is caught quickly, and it wasn't caught quickly enough. So, Lamb of God, Randy Blythe, they have no idea whatsoever that this happened. As far as they know, the show went on, everybody's all right, everybody went home, it's good night. They go about their world tour. They continue on to the next, whatever. Actually, they continue that tour. So this was May. They continue that tour until November. The tour ended. And they do this thing. It's kind of like the classic Lamb of God rhythm of the band, where they put out a new album. They tour the ever-loving shit out of it. Lamb of God is known to go on tour for just like 2 straight years with little to no breaks. Yeah, no, they're hardcore, badass. It is. And that also plays into kind of some of the memories that are going to come up later when Randy's like, I've played 1,000 shows. So, lost my train of thought right there. Hold on. Yeah, the classic Lamb of God deal. They just go off. They put out an album. They tour for 2 years. They pretty much go off the grid for like a year and a half. And then they'll start teasing a new album. They'll release it, repeat. Cool. The next album that so they finish the tour. They go off the grid. Don't really hear from them. December 5th of 2011, they release an album called Resolution. It's another great album, as all Lamb of God albums. This one does include one thing that I did really want to mention. I've actually mentioned this on previous episodes, or maybe in a previous episode, how music has pulled me out of some really dark times. And one song specifically on that Resolution album has helped me pull through a dark time once or twice. I think this might come across just slightly cringe if you're not a metalhead, but I think it plays into something else we talked about, where hearing the right words from the right person at the right time it hits right and it helps so much. So this song is called Visitation, and this lyric goes, I'm not gonna like scream it for you here. This is how I choose to survive, the only way I know to exist. The road is hard, the cost is high, but I was built for this. Once again, maybe cringe, whatever. It really helped me at a dark time in my life. Yeah. The whole, like, I was built for this, I was put here for this, and we're going to fucking get through it.
Hell yeah.
So, that album comes out in November. They kick off their tour in January. They're doing it again. They're touring the world. Now, by June of 2012, they land in Prague. They're set to play a show. Actually, I believe the show was in Italy, and for some reason they landed in Prague and go. I think I might be slightly off, but they land in Prague. No idea that, they're just on tour. Life's normal, life's good. They walk off the plane, doop, 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 and they're met with a small squad of armed police officers pointing assault rifles at them and shouting at them in the Czech language that they don't speak.
Right, of course.
They're on the ground at the airport. They're all in handcuffs. They're hauled off into like a little detention area. Fair amount of time passes. They're trying to get translators in there to tell them what's going on. There's a lot of confusion. Band management is calling, trying to figure shit out. They let the whole band go except for Randy. This is where they finally get this worked out. They inform Randy that where's my note? He was accused of causing the death of a 19-year-old fan, Daniel Nosek. Oh,
shit.
He's accused of forcefully shoving him off the stage with intent to cause harm. That carries a term of 5 to 10 years in a Czech prison. Yeah, he's just blindsided with all this shit as soon as he gets off a plane. So he's actually literally taken directly to a prison. There's no county jail or shit. They're straight to the prison in Prague while they figure out what to do with him. So this was June 27th. It takes them 2 days. There's actually some funny stuff in here about it was a judge's off day, and then there's a holiday or something like that.
Yeah,
so
the
he
worst
sits for
possible
extra
timing.
time. Yeah, exactly. On June 29th, they are formally charging him, claiming that he intentionally injured Daniel Nosek, caused his death. Immediately, the Czech media is all over this and sensationalizing it. I mean, this demonic metal screaming angry band came and just punched a fan and kicked him off the stage and killed him.
Wait, quick question. So this was, is this a year apart that
2 years?
Oh, 2 years apart. So the event happened of the kid dying was 2 years ago. 2 years later, they come back, and now they're arresting him. They didn't send him any letters or anything like, hey, bud, we're thinking about arresting you if you ever come back here. They didn't warn him or anything, just blindsided him.
I'm so glad that you asked that. The Czech government reached out to the United States government once they deemed that Randy Blythe is their suspect in this murder trial or murder case. And the American government just didn't respond.
Okay.
They just ghosted him. Just fucking left him on red.
Like, who is this? Don't care. Click.
Pretty much.
It's crazy.
So 2 years, and Randy, the band, they have no idea any of this.
Wow.
They just land and get guns in their face and arrested.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So he sits in that prison for a total of 5 weeks.
Holy shit.
He's in the prison while they're trying to work out all the legal details and blah, blah. Part of the reason he's in there so long is that the Czech state prosecutor did not want to allow him to have a bail. Like, just keep him here. Don't let him leave this jail because he's a flight risk. He's a rich, angry, satanic guy. He's just going to leave.
Immediately could leave and they're not going to extradite you.
And
he'll just never come back to Prague.
And because of the Czech government reaching out to the U.S. and they're not responding, they had even more reason to believe, like, he'll never come back.
Yeah. Damn.
So, what does end up happening after a lot of 5 weeks of fighting, they post his bail at $400,000 US. The band's management just paid it instantly. He's released from prison on August 3rd.
Damn.
Couple of fun bits here. During that time, man, I was following this story I was dialed in. You know what I mean? I was on fucking Twitter, #FreeRandy. Go back and look at my post history, dude. There was actually, I put this note in, I found it's pretty cool. There was a change.org, an official White House petition was created by fans to free Randy Blythe, help him get home, whatever. Gathered almost 28,000 signatures.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was one of them. But all of that, he's released, he's on his way home. This is a key part of the story. As soon as he's free, I think a day or two later, he posts on his socials, I'm back home in Richmond, happy to be home, kind of the generic stuff there, but he posts kind of a long thing. There's 3 points. I'm going to speed through the first 2, but the third one it's the point of the whole story. So, point number 1, while he was in prison, he had little to no knowledge of how the media was portraying or receiving the story. He didn't know if he was being vilified or if he's being defended. He had no idea what was going on, either in the U.S. or there. But once he gets out, he sees that there's a petition. There's a million messages, posts, just everything else, all the support from many, many famous musicians, speaking out on his behalf. So basically that part says he didn't know what was going on, but all this love that he's seen, it just means the world to him. Thank y'all so much. Number 2, he's made a point of saying this several times over the years, he was treated well while he was in prison. He said he never feared for his safety. He said, it was prison. It sucked. It wasn't fun, but they treated him well. They fed him. He wasn't scared for his safety. And he makes a point of there's people all over the world who don't have a hot meal, a nice bed, and a safe place every day. So even if I was in prison, I tried to keep that in mind.
That's one thing that I was curious about. What was his treatment like within? Because I know that in certain countries, it's fucking horrible. I know that there's certain countries you don't want to fucking go to prison there because you're not going to get treated well. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna fucking suck. So that was one of the things I was curious about.
Yeah. So once again, he said that several times. He said he was treated well. It wasn't fun, but
that's
it was
good.
all right.
Yeah.
A little prison retreat. All right, I am going to read this whole thing of the third point because it's so good. All right. If it is deemed necessary for me to do so, I will return to Prague to stand trial. While I maintain my innocence 100% and will do so steadfastly, I will not hide in the United States, safe from extradition and possible prosecution. As I write this, the family of a fan of my band suffers through the indescribably tragic loss of their child. They have to deal with constantly varying media reports about the circumstances surrounding his death. I am charged with maliciously causing severe bodily harm to this young man, resulting in his death. While I consider the charge leveled against me to be ludicrous and without qualification, my opinion makes no difference in this matter. The charge exists, and for the family of this young man, questions remain. The worst possible pain remains. It is fairly common knowledge amongst fans of my band that I once lost a child as well. I unfortunately am intimately familiar with what their pain is like. Therefore, I know all too well that in this time of grief, the family needs and deserves real answers, not a media explosion followed by the accused killer of their son hiding like a coward thousands of miles away while they suffer. I was raised to face my problems head on, not run from them like a petulant child. I hope that justice is done and the family of Daniel N. will receive the closure they undoubtedly need to facilitate healing. I feel very strongly that as an adult, it would be both irresponsible and immoral for me not to return to Prague if I am summoned. This is not about bail money. This is about a young man who lost his life. I will act with honor and will fight to clear my good name. Thank you for reading this, and I wish you all peace.
Fuck yeah. That's probably the best response of like, I'm not gonna run from this shit. I'll face the music if I have to, but I know that I'm innocent. And I think that under the circumstances, I guess I'm curious about, I wonder how much he knew, like once he got out, like what was there video evidence already kind of being like shown on the internet? Were there people kind of doing their own investigations and looking
Absolutely.
into? Okay.
100%. Internet sleuths are all over this, and you can find, like I said at the start, a lot of videos of this concert night.
Mm-hmm.
They're all blurry cell phone footage taken in the middle of a mosh pit.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing one video specifically that had the person outlined in red as they kind of flew off the stage, but it's just a blurry mess. And I mean, I feel like you have to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's about to be a whole court case here. They'll solve that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what a fucking guy.
Man,
Hell yeah. That's really good. Compared to like what we get in modern times with, you know, whether it be celebrities or e-celebrities or whoever, that's a very noble and like, I'm gonna face the music and I'm going to, I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. You're making me a bit of a fan now. You're making me a bit of a fan. I'm ready to I'm ready to hear the rest of this. All right, let's go.
All right. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, he's just, and I followed him for years. You know, like I said, I'm a big stan, but on his Instagram and everything like that, that's really kind of how he is. It's not. I've never seen anything that makes me think this man is anything besides what he puts out there, and everything he puts out there is very much like this. Like, you know, don't be an idiot, act with honor, love your fellow people, jump in a mosh pit.
Hell yeah.
So he's back in Virginia. He's chilling. The reason at the beginning of that statement I said, if I need to return, there was some questions at the time from the lawyer's team if he would need to return. But, I mean, as he states, like, I'm going to return.
Yeah.
So he's in Richmond. He's chilling. He is informed. Let's see. He got out at the beginning of August. At the end of November that year, he's told he's going to have to go stand trial on February 4th, 2013. And he does, exactly as he said. He shows up. He's there. He's looking all clean in a suit with his hair back in a ponytail and his little soul patch. The trial gets sticky, messy. There's a lot of witnesses. A lot of the witnesses that come through the trial, I don't know how I could have read this if I was on a jury, because there was at least 4 or 5 different people that just gave completely different answers. There's one friend of Daniel's who, and also just to say this, everybody did say that Daniel was not on any drugs or alcohol that night. He was completely sober and healthy. He was there to see one of his favorite bands, etc. One of his friends testifies that while he was on the stage, Randy punched him in the face and then pushed him, and he fell off backwards. There's what do you call it? I don't know the term, like an analyst for like the physics of it. So they're like, if Daniel hit his head like this, he had to have fallen like this, so it couldn't have happened like that, et cetera, et cetera. Another friend of Daniel's says that the concert was over. Daniel climbed up on the stage as Randy was walking away, and he turned around and basically charged at him and hit him and sent him flying off the stage face first. One of my other favorites, I've got to find this gentleman's name. There's a guy who's just in Prague, and he's hearing all of the trial, and he just basically turns up and is like, I was there that night, I gotta speak my piece. And he's saying, I saw people fly off the stage. I didn't see anybody hit the ground. I didn't see an ambulance. I didn't see any of this. And I go to a lot of concerts and can't remember very much. So it's like, why did they let him in, dude? Why did they let this guy in?
They let him speak during the court proceedings?
Yes,
That's
he's
amazing.
Testified.
Yeah, I go to lots of concerts. No, I don't remember a lot of it. But
I'm always
what does
high
that
and drunk.
matter? That's fucking crazy.
Couple of the bits from Randy's side. His defense is mainly he wears glasses. He is nearsighted. He really can't see well without them. He doesn't wear them during concerts.
Yep.
So he's like, I see people coming at me. If they get close enough, maybe I can recognize a face. But you also have to remember I've played 1,000 concerts. You know, everything blurs together. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So basically his defense is, if I did this, I certainly did not mean to. It was not malicious. You know, I don't know what the term is. Potentially he did, you know, for all he knows. But he maintains, I didn't do it purposely. I wouldn't do that purposely. They mentioned, as I mentioned at the beginning of the story, the security issues. There wasn't enough guards. The club was oversold that night. They didn't have the barrier far enough away. One of the security guards actually comes up and testifies. I can't remember. The security guard did verify the number of staff did not meet the rider that Lamb of God has. If we're going to play your concert, you have to meet these requirements. And the security guard testified they didn't. The barrier was too close. There wasn't enough guards. Kind of another win for Randy's side. There's also the fun part where a court in the Czech Republic doesn't understand heavy metal or heavy metal concerts.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. It's older, older folks.
Yeah.
So a lot of the prosecution thing is like, well, here's videos of Randy screaming about punching people and destroying things, and here's him pushing people off stages at other shows. Here's his angry lyrics. Here's what goes on at these shows. These kids are maniacs. They're running at each other and jumping on each other's heads and shit. So, I mean, like, Randy's bandmates testify. I think one of his managers goes up and testifies, like, that's an act. Randy's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Right.
It's for the show, etc. Earlier in the story, also on the night of the concert back in 2010, I mentioned how there was a drunk guy who climbed the stage 3 times.
Yeah.
He shows up to testify. His name, I'm so sorry in advance if I say this terribly. His name is Milan Poradek.
Okay.
And he comes and he testifies. And he says that he was drunk, he was rowdy, he was, amped up. And he said he climbed the stage once and it was fun. He said he climbed the stage twice and he got the vibe that Randy didn't want him there. And then he drank more. Then he climbed the stage a 3rd time. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the man, to remind you, who fell over, knocked over, however you want to say that. And there's actually a video of Randy, like, kneeling on this guy. Like, it looks like he's screaming in his face.
Right.
And Milan testifies. He said, I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like Randy was actually trying to hurt me, but he was telling me to fucking stop because he did not want me on his stage acting like a clown.
Yeah.
His exact words were, I grasped the fact that I was not wanted on stage.
That is extremely mature. I feel like if that had happened in, and this may just me being pessimistic, I feel like if that had happened in like an American show, I feel like that narrative would have been a lot different. Where it would have been like, he grabbed me and then forced me, threw me down and put his knee and I couldn't get up. And he, because, there's a lot of people looking for the paycheck and you get a famous guy putting his knee on your back. That's easy money, right? But for him, that's actually extremely noble of him to be like, yeah, I was fucking around. I was really drunk. I clearly was out of line. I even got the vibe before anything happened. And then I got the message afterwards. I didn't jump on again. Like clearly he didn't jump on a 4th time. He fucked around and found out. And I think it kind of goes to show too, like I can't even imagine being an artist like on stage there's thousands of people in front of you, and like people are coming up on stage on either side of you, especially if you're like me. I can't do anything without my glasses. I'm nearsighted as well.
I'm
And
same.
like, dude, like just seeing a blur like charge at you or like move in any sort of like aggressive way, it's like, oh, already that's a, I'm like, fucking get the fuck away from me. But that's okay. I like that a lot. That's very, very noble of him to do. And yeah, continue.
It is. The Nosek family representative brought a claim for the damages in the amount of $530,000 US. Another person came up and testified, another witness that was there that night, and they testified against what Milan said. And they testified that Randy had punched him in the face, held him down, and choked him.
Okay.
And it's kind of goofy. Like I said, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, a lot of two sides to a story, but also two perceptions of a story. It feels like where it's like it looks one way, but in the way that it's perceived by another person, clearly it's a lot different. I feel like in this case you're gonna believe the Milan guy a lot more than you're gonna believe some fucking random guy who's like watching. So
there's a lot of things that don't line up.
Mm-hmm.
So this trial goes on for 6 days. Well over a dozen witnesses, attendees from the night. They had a psychologist at one point talking about Randy and his lyrics versus his perceived behaviors. And ultimately the psychologist is like, he's probably not a satanic like murderer guy,
Probably pretty chill dude.
Yeah. Another kind of cool point, on the end of the 4th day of the trial, it goes on for 6 days. The end of the 4th day, they tell Randy, like, you're not going to be testifying anymore. You don't even speak our language. He's sitting in court for a fucking week listening to another language, and then his translator's going, yeah. So they're like, you don't have to be here anymore. And he shows up every single day, ready to go. I mean, yeah, he's such a good guy. 6th day of the trial, the verdict. It is ultimately maintained that... Oh, that's the wrong up. So, based on witness testimonies, the court did not believe that Blythe was solely responsible. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, where's the... I need the wording. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I know. Talk it up. Say something.
I think that this is very interesting too, because we've seen this sort of thing happen where you have musicians who travel internationally, and the way that international law works in every place, I think a lot of people equate it to American law. Like the moment that something happens, either to a fan or something happens, like you get like artists who get caught with like marijuana in countries where it's not legal or something like that, and they get the book fucking thrown at them, right? I want to say it was there's a rapper. That was it. It wasn't Wiz Khalifa. I don't remember who it was. It might have been A$AP Rocky. There's a few rappers who have had that sort of run in where it's like you get caught with just like a little bit, and all of a sudden it becomes this huge shitstorm. Whereas in America, you get caught with some ways like, okay, you get fined, maybe you get some jail time, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. But then everyone in the American perception instantly goes, well, what the fuck is the point of this? You know what I mean? What, like, this is so stupid. Like, clearly, he's not liable, or this is, just foolish, or like, they're making way too big of a deal of it, but they don't understand, like, culturally, people view this in a much different way, right? Like, if you see, like, a foreign group, a foreign band come to your country, and then a young man dies, like clearly you're going to
throw your citizen off the stage.
Yeah, you are going to, and there's all this perception of, oh, well, he was held down and punched, or he was, not, charged at and knocked off the stage. Like, there's going to be this perception of like, he clearly intended malice, right? Also, to back that up, this guy's a fucking satanic monster. Like, he's talking about punching people and worshiping, goat-legged, beings, and just he's a freak. He's a freak. And so it's just interesting to see the perception. But honestly, like, props to Randy for, I've seen foreign trials before where you have an American, someone who's accused that's American, and they have the headphones on, and they're just listening because they don't know what the fuck anybody is saying. You know what I mean? And that's a really, I mean, props to him, especially if he was like, if they were like, yeah, you don't have to be here. Like, I can see so many other musicians just being like, okay, fuck it, later, and then just dip in and going to do their own thing. But for him to have to be this kind of stand up guy, to be like, yeah, fuck, you know what, I don't care that I don't have to be here. I'm going to be there because it's required of me to, because this is a trial, you know, with that my honor is at stake. You know, my public perception, my you know, my band and everything that I stand for is being, you know, questioned here in a way, which I think is, again, it's just very honorable. Is the word of the day. I think this guy is very honorable for him to stick with it. So, did you find your quote? Can I stop yapping now?
Yes, okay. You may. All right, March 5th, 2013, sixth day of the trial. The verdict is given. The verdict: Blythe was found not criminally liable for no-sex death, even though he was morally responsible for it. That's what the court says.
Interesting.
Consequently, the court dismisses the damages claim and ordered the return of Randy's bail money. So ultimately, you know, the court had proven, they believe they proved that Randy tossed Daniel off the stage. They felt that was concrete. However, due to Blythe's nearsightedness, could have mistaken him for another fan. With the concerns and the security, they basically said, you know, could have happened, but not criminally liable for it. And that's pretty much that. He's gonna walk free, and the whole metal world rejoiced. Woo! There is one. There's just a little bit more here, but the final statement from Randy. This gets even better, believe it or not. He said, I'm leaving Prague, and I hope to not return for a long while. Daniel was a fan of my band. He was just a boy, and I wish he was still here with us. While I am relieved that my innocence was proven and I will not be going to prison, I am in no way, shape, or form a happy man right now. A young man is still dead, and his family suffers. He ends up shortly thereafter privately meeting with the Nosek family. There's been no contact up to this point. According to the band management, they reached out to the Nosek family to try and make contact ahead of this, but got no response. According to the Nosek family, they never received any such communication. After the verdict, Randy goes and meets with them privately. It's private. He doesn't release a whole lot about this subject, but he does put out an Instagram post, and he says, all I will say is that they were very kind to me and displayed the utmost strength and class. They wished me a good life, and I wish them only the best, and I will keep them in my thoughts and prayers. This family did no wrong and have shown me great kindness. I guess another little bit at the end of the trial is Randy was saying, because of this, you can be goddamn sure that we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. In Daniel's name, we're changing our security. We will never play a show if they're not meeting our demands again.
Yeah, it's always the one exception, you know. It's always that one time that you go, well, you know, they don't quite meet the standards that we're setting, so it'll be fine. And like, there are plenty of times where it's just like every time that you think about, like, anytime you do something personally that's dumb, you know. I think people who drive drunk, for instance, right? They go, well, I've made it home, you know, every time, or people who here's another more example that's a little bit closer to stuff that I've been researching lately, which is motorcycles, is people who ride without a helmet or ride without protective gear. You go, yeah, I've ridden 100 times or 1,000 times, and I've never had a worry, until you have that one moment when you crash, until that one exception where there's just such unpredictability. Yeah, holy shit. I mean, good on them though. Good on them for recognizing that and going, we'll do everything in our power to make sure this never happens again. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what they said. I did want to say, kind of a fun part. You know, if you're gonna find the silver lining in prison while you're a metal vocalist, he wrote 2 kick-ass songs while he was in prison. One of them is called 512. It was his prison cell number.
Okay.
And the other one is called Still Echoes. And that is relating to, this is like a historic prison in Prague. It's been there for God knows how long. Okay. And they literally still have a guillotine in the prison that
Fuck
used
yeah.
to be used to execute people.
Wow.
And the song is talking about like the still echoes of their screams ring through the halls type shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude,
Damn.
it's brutal.
That's wild how you can find. I mean, I guess here's the thing, man. If you got time, yeah, fuck it. What else are you gonna do? I guess you can't really fill your time. I think that's every time I see anything about prison, like any documentaries or anything, it's always about trying to fill that time. You know, whether it's working out or you know doing whatever
Educating
that you
yourself,
can to
writing.
doing what you can to escape the fact that you cannot go anywhere. You know, you're stuck in that spot. And damn, that is wow. What a fucking story, man. Holy shit.
I told you.
Yeah, holy shit. What a wild ride. I think and it goes to show cuz I've definitely seen a lot of there's like compilations on YouTube of like, you know, you have like the positive versions where it's like, you know, an artist will bring a fan up to like play an instrument or sing with them or whatever, and that's always really cool. But then you have the opposite of the, you know, kind of the Randy Blythe situation where people are taking advantage of the situation. People are taking advantage of the kindness that some of these artists will show, and they get up on stage and act a fucking fool, and they either find out that they get punched in the face or they get fucking, you know, there's plenty of like I said, there's compilations of different artists that just kick the shit out of their fans or you know, having one of the things that I see too is a lot of the times is like an artist will get something thrown at them and it like hits them in the chest or the face or something like that, and they'll just stop the show and walk off, and they're like, yep, I'm done. I don't, this is, you know, if you're gonna disrespect me in that way.
Yeah.
But holy shit, there's a ton of lessons I feel like to learn out of that. One, to not compromise on your laurels and to, you know, obviously you can make an exception and you can roll the dice, but I think a lot of the times it's better to just stick with what you know. Like if they knew, you know, we have these stipulations and we've been doing this much touring, and the one time they make an exception, this happens. I mean, you know, it's I can kind of see a little bit of where the moral argument comes in of like, well, you knew and you did the show anyways, but at the same time, you really didn't. You didn't know that the show was going to get that rowdy, or that, you know, because it sounds like this is kind of just a freak accident, you know, more than anything. It sounds like, you know, I've seen people stage dive and people, you know, jump into crowds. It's not, you know, a foolhardy thing. You know, there's people who are, you know, getting injured all the time, fucking breaking their arms, or, you know, they underestimate, you know, where they're jumping, or, you know, so yeah, that's
the only two bones in my body I've ever broken were my nose in a Parkway Drive mosh pit and my left ring finger in a Thy Art Is Murder mosh pit.
There you go. I mean, it's not, here's the thing, you know, you kind of go into different situations, and this is kind of from the fan perspective, because I've been to concerts. I haven't been to concerts in a long time, but I usually go to like hip hop concerts, and it's a much different vibe.
Definitely.
They're not moshing at like hip hop concerts, but I've also been to a couple like smaller metal shows with mosh pits involved, and it's definitely like, you know what you're getting yourself into, and there's a sort of like human barrier that gets created where you have people who are moshing and they're there in the mosh. Then you have the outside people like me who are like, I'm just gonna enjoy the show and like do my own thing. And it's definitely, you can feel that different sort of energy of like people who are within the mosh pit and people who are without. People who are going into the mosh pit, there's even an etiquette there.
100%.
Where you're you know, you're there to like, you know, get this energy out and to like enjoy the music and to express yourself, but you're also, a lot of people, I mean, there's people that, you know, will obviously go into it with some touch of malice, but I think most people are going in there wanting everyone to be safe, wanting everyone to enjoy the show just as they are, and have a good time. And so there's a certain etiquette that kind of gets brought into that. I think when you can definitely get lost in the excitement, especially in a show where it sounds like in this show in particular, there were people who were going up on stage and it was kind of like a common thing where there's probably a lot of people going up on stage.
Some bands or some genres of metal bands, they love that. It's like a core part of their show. It's part of the thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's definitely different and it depends on the band, because you're right, there are some bands who they love when people come up, and then there's other bands where it's like, stay the fuck off our stage. We are doing a show, you know.
And that's Lamb of God now.
Yeah, which for good reason, for absolutely good reason. I think to be able to learn a lesson like that and to go, you know what, this was a horrible thing to happen. For Randy to handle it with such fucking, I think he used the best word, which is class. That was the word I was looking for this whole time. To have such class and how he handled the whole situation is, it's just incredible. I mean, it's not often that you hear, I mean, it is in some cases, but I feel like it's not as often anymore to hear about artists handling things with such tact.
Yeah.
You know, it's very easy to vilify a lot of art. I think the Travis Scott thing is what I always think about, and his dog shit apology. And he had like, what was it, like 4 or 5 people, maybe more than that, die due to crowd crush. And just the poor organization and his, you know, he really didn't take a lot of accountability when a lot of that situation happened. And I don't know that he's made effort, you know, and I can't really speak too much on it because I haven't done the research, but I feel like he hasn't really made any change or effort. Obviously he's probably done some things to make sure that doesn't happen, but he hasn't made things super public or done anything publicly in the same sort of sense that Randy did, you know, even meeting with the families. Like, I don't think Travis has done anything like that, but there's, you know, and that's just kind of one of those things that it's very interesting to see how different people will handle these different sorts of situations, and how he was able to take something so negative and come out of it, not necessarily positive, but come out of it with as a learned experience, and to be able to, I'm sure he's had to, you know, deal with those demons of like, fuck man, someone died at my show. I can't imagine, you know,
At my hand.
Yeah. Because of my band. If it wasn't for my band, you know, that young man wouldn't have been there, and the incident wouldn't have happened. So, but what a fucking wild ride. Holy shit. I feel like I know a new face of Lamb of God now. I don't even know what fucking Randy Blythe looks like. I'll have to look at a picture of him.
We'll get some pictures for your edit.
Yeah.
Just one little more tidbit here.
Absolutely.
In 2020, Lamb of God was promoting their new album that would be coming out. 2020, I believe that was the Omens album. I might be wrong there, but they do a Reddit AMA, and the most upvoted comment was a fan from the Czech Republic asking Randy, "You ever gonna come back here again?" Because they haven't been there since 2012, even to this day. Mm-hmm. Randy's comment, always with the utmost grace and class. He said, "I would love to play the Czech Republic again. I have nothing against the Czech people. I was not mistreated there. Eventually, I think we might play there again, but it will 100% have to be with the cooperation of the family of the young man who died. I would want to give the money from the show to a charity they choose. If we played there, it would be a huge news story, and I do not wish to cause the young man's family any more pain. They did no wrong and were not cruel to me. In fact, they showed me great kindness. But they have suffered enough, so it is out of respect to them I have not returned. I hope my Czech fans can understand."
Damn. What a fucking class.
That's
what
what
a
I'm saying.
class act. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, there's a certain perception that people have of different music genres. I think in our, you know, respective favorite genres, that being metal and hip hop, there's automatically this like this preconceived notion of what those artists are going to act like and how they're going to be. Don't get me wrong, there are artists within the genres respectively that do act exactly as they're stereotypically portrayed. But I think to have that perception kind of shattered in such a way is really nice to see. You know, it gives you hope. You know, like the one thing that I've been struggling with the past couple of weeks is just losing hope in humanity. It just as a whole, with everything that's like, it just not. I mean, that's kind of like a regular thing for me. Just like,
okay,
holy shit, there's so much bad. There's so much just fucking. How can people fucking, you know? I think it's more of just the sort of the time that we're in currently, like literally right now. Everything that's happening. Both in every sort of space that I kind of occupy in terms of what I enjoy. There's always just so much fucking, you know, whether it's a creator that's coming out and there's some awful shit happening with them, or if it's, you know, the political space where everything is just fucking chaos and fire at that point. And everything just feels like it's very, it's hard to find good
volatile.
Sometimes, you know, huh?
Everything's just so volatile.
Yes, exactly. Volatile is a great word. But it's hard to find hope. You know, it's hard to find hope and remember that the most important thing is like just love people and just like respect people and have a bit of class. Be a little bit more like Randy Blythe. God damn it,
Let's all be a little bit more like Randy.
Yeah, fuck. Because the amount of respect that he showed for the family, I mean, and that's fucking powerful to be like, you know what, I'm more than willing to come back, but not without that young man's family, without their explicit approval. You know, I don't want to fucking. You know, because and he's absolutely right, and that's extremely self-aware of him to
media thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For him to be like, I know that the moment that we fucking step off that airplane, everyone's gonna. Well, they haven't been back since that kid, you know, fell off the stage or maybe got thrown off the stage. Let's review the foot. Let's bring back old footage of it, and let's unbury. Let's show footage of the trial, and it becomes this huge thing, and it's just. You know, good on him for not wanting to put that family through that again, because it is a fucking traumatic thing. It is a traumatic thing to have something in the public eye, and be at the forefront of this scene and like be so deeply talked about. Because I'm sure there was a ton of people, a ton of fans, you know, a ton of people reaching out, like a ton of reporters reaching out to the family themselves to be like, hey, do you have a comment? Do you want to talk about it? What do you think? Do you hate this Randy guy? Like, what's going on? And for him to just have that sort of class to be like, you know what? I don't want to put them to that. And if we can work it out and they're completely fine with it and they want us to come back, absolutely we will. So, holy shit. What a fucking guy.
What a fucking guy.
What a story. What a guy. What a story.
Yeah. He did go on to write a book about it called Dark Days. If you or anyone is interested, it's a little bit of like an autobiography, but a large portion of it is dedicated to all of this. Probably a lot more detail than I was able to give.
Hell yeah. That's cool. I'm glad that you were able to share that. This is definitely, I like this. Let's change the whole format. Let's just do this. Let's do scripted.
I'm going to just tell you stories.
Super deep dives of you telling me stories. Yeah. No, I think it's a good break from the norm to have a little just piece of like something interesting. That's not the norm.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know if you said this at the beginning, but our plan is to do this every 5th episode right now.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, sometimes we get a little heavy. We talk about a lot of mental health things, stress, depression, God knows what. So we just want to do something different. And our idea for that is to kind of alternate between us and just pick whatever the fuck we want, whatever we're interested in that we think we can fill some time with.
Yeah.
And this was the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know how I'll follow it up, but I sure can't wait to get there.
Yeah. It'll be a few episodes from then. Until then, it'll be my turn to figure out what I'm going to talk about. I was going to talk about just kind of like really weird niche internet celebrities that I'm interested in. Because it's such a weird world, and the sort of the people that cover them are all kind of weird people themselves. And I just find it interesting how you have so many people who are like so well documented, and they're just like normal people. Like if you did not give them the power of like YouTube or Twitter or the internet in general, we would never know a fucking thing about them.
You run into them at the Walmart.
Yeah, and there are people now who like document every fucking post that these people are putting out. YouTube channels dedicated to their entire lives. You know, people who just they make it their entire mission to track, you know, not necessarily from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep, but essentially that sort of thing. Everything that they're putting out, and it turns into these elaborate stories of just like what essentially is just like normal people like just being fucking weird. But
you
also,
got a new dog?
Yeah, that's crazy. But like
let's make a 10-minute YouTube video about it.
Yeah. But it goes so much deeper. So I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do something music related too. I don't know who exactly I would cover, because I don't know if I've ever been so involved with a musician that's ever had that sort of like controversy, like especially internationally. Other than like I could tell the story like Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs had a kind of a similar. He's a hip hop artist too. I love Freddie Gibbs. Probably my all-time favorite artist, who had a similar sort of thing happen to him in, I want to say he was in South Africa, and he got arrested under some false allegations and was in prison for. That's a whole other thing. I'll do some research. Maybe we'll
spoilers.
it was a whole thing, and it really like it fucked him up. It really traumatized him, and he almost quit music because of it. But thankfully he didn't. And it was it's an interesting. I'll do some research. I'll put something together. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. You got a little time, and
yeah.
I didn't set the bar too high, so
Yeah, I don't know. That was a pretty good story. I think it was funny because we were talking about before we actually did the episode about how this is basically like a whole new. This is almost like the first episode all over again, where it's a whole new concept. We hope that anybody watching or listening, however you're absorbing this, we hope you all enjoyed that, because I fucking enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool fucking story, and I'm also the type of person who's very interested in people who are interested in stuff. You know what I mean? The moment that you show passion about something, which clearly you do, it's one of your favorite bands, one of your favorite people. Fucking the moment that you show that level of interest and that level of passion, I think, and seeing your script immediately, I knew. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good episode, because it was just like you've clearly done the. I think I messaged you, I was like, you write this whole fucking thing, and you're like, yeah. It's like some copy and pasting, but yeah. It's like,
I may or may not have stressed about it for a whole week. Nobody.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, that was fuck, man. Is there anything else you want to say? I don't know. You want to talk about anything else, or is there anything else you want to say about that, Randy? You have a message to Randy. What do you want to say to Randy right now?
Randy Blythe, come on the show. And I don't want you as an internet guest. Can you physically come sit here next to me, and we'll do a show?
Can you just show up to your house in wherever you live and be there wherever he is currently, and then just be there?
That's right. We'll be there here together.
I won't be there,
man.
I'm still gonna be.
You could be here.
No, I'm gonna be at my own house still.
Fine.
Just kidding. Who knows? That would be an interesting thing.
I don't think there's anything really much else to add to that story. Lamb of God is awesome. I could probably tell you another cool lyric. Sure.
Yeah. Let me hear a lyric. Scream it for me right now.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
The album that they were touring on was Wrath, when 2010, when the whole event happened. There's a song on Wrath that's called Broken Hands. It's another one it's just the same thing as to the one I said earlier, man. Those lyrics have, played in my ears when I was in a dark spot, and it's helpful. These lyrics, once again, they might be cringe because I'm not, you're not hearing it over a down-tuned guitar and like a cool, So, well, there's those that do and those that just do talking. We're all going through hell. It's burn or keep on walking. Short, sweet, simple, but that little, you're going through hell, you can burn or keep on walking.
Yeah.
That has stuck with me since I very first heard that song.
Absolutely. I can definitely see how that'd be one of those impactful lyrics of like, you really got two options: burn or you keep walking. And I think that, hopefully hearing that, it'll give you enough courage and strength to keep walking. So, god damn.
Still here.
Yeah, there you go. Still here, still walking.
So yeah, how are you gonna follow that up?
Fuck, I don't know. That's that. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I was gonna say my stories are probably not gonna be. Well, I don't know. I guess I got 4 or 5 episodes to figure it out. So that's
right, well, the expectation is now for just grace and class.
Oh hell no. That's dignity. No. I can tell you right now.
We can't talk about Nikocado avocado guy. There's no grace there.
No, I wouldn't talk about him. I'd talk about like King Cobra, or like, well, the thing that is, a lot of the people that like, I guess a lot of the internet, the like the niche internet celebrity people, a lot of them are just kind of sad. So I don't know if I want to like, you know what I mean? Well, and I more just so find it interesting how they are, how they're talked about and how they're viewed. There's some people like, I would never want to talk about like World of T-Shirts or Daniel Larson, because those are just way too sad. Those are like, those guys are very clearly going through it, and they've yeah, and that's the thing, you don't know them, and that's, you probably shouldn't, because it's really sad, and I don't want to I don't want to like just like make you feel bad about like, because it's just, both stories are just extremely sad and not I guess what we're shooting for with this.
Yeah, we're shooing for distraction, happy, good times here. Remember?
Yeah, but there are some, like, I feel like doing a deep dive on King Cobra would be an interesting one, because he's just kind of a wacky fucking guy from Wyoming, and so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll stick to King Cobra, and talk about him, because he's, while he has had his like ups and downs, and he's been able to bounce back from a lot of stuff. He has a lot of just very interesting things about him that I think people might find at least interesting. I don't know if he's a fucking weird man. He's a weird guy. There's no other way. He makes his own alcohol, but doesn't let it like ferment properly. That's the kind of person that he is. Yeah. Like he's like making like big jugs of alcohol, but he doesn't like, and he puts like fucking chocolate syrup and fucking like weird shit in his. Oh,
And he drinks it?
yeah. Oh yeah. And he's like, he'll like, yeah, you're supposed to let it ferment for like 7 days, and it'll be like 4 days in, and he's like, I'm gonna drink it anyways, and he's like, this sucks, and he does it so often. It's so stupid. He's a fucking wacky dude.
All right.
Maybe we'll see. Like I said, I got a couple episodes to think about it.
You do, man. Next, this won't affect our release schedule at all, but next weekend we're gonna be at QuakeCon, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw yesterday they're doing a 2v2 Rocket League tournament.
Yeah, I know.
You sign up on day one, and if we make it all the way to the finals, it's literally on the final stage on Saturday night.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
they're not doing the Quake Pro Live finals, so they're filling with other stuff.
TJ told me about that, and did not realize that was the case. Because I was like, he was like, I figured that you were gonna do it with Zach, so he's my team's partner.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the final stage.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Chief. I am literally a fucking gold player at best, it feels like. I don't know about that. It's but even so, like I remember the first time when we did a Rocket League tournament, and we had such high hopes, and then we played the champions. It was literally
round one. We lost to the people who would go on to win.
Champions. Yeah. I think that was that you, me, and Taylor that played that tournament.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and
Zach and TJ weren't there yet.
Yeah, they were there the next year, I think, and they fucking, dude, those people stomped us. And so from then on, I'm like, dude, I'm not a GC. I'm not at all. And I know there's a lot of people that are gonna be in that tournament. You know, I know.
I mean, I'm no GC either, but
it's gonna be fun regardless. Hell yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be a fucking regular thing every 5th episode. When we come back in the middle of August, I think it'll be, after QuakeCon, we'll have a lot of fucking stories. I guarantee you a lot of our stories are going to be about QuakeCon.
Yeah.
This episode will come out.
We're going to talk about spicy water.
Spicy water? Yeah, holy fuck.
I'm going to keep my dick in my pants.
Harambe won't be there, so.
Harambe will not be there.
It's going to be a fucking great year. We're excited. We'll see y'all after QuakeCon, post QuakeCon, once we're able to recuperate and recover from the insanity of those 4 days. Yeah. So you want to wrap it up? You started it, now you get to wrap it up.
Oh, I don't know the thing. You got to say it.
Oh wait. What do you mean you don't know the thing?
I forgot it.
How do you? Oh my God, we would love to spend the rest of our lives sitting here talking about Randy Blythe. And we would love to spend more time with y'all, but I think that was time well meant. I have been dialed in to this drama.
Haktua. Bye.
Hey. What do you mean you don't know it?
Wasn't in front of me. I couldn't remember.
Oh, brother.